All right, all right, all right. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to 27 Outs Live here. I'm Ivan alongside Stefan, as always. Hey, we were here just a couple of days ago, and boy, oh boy, did you guys really show a tremendous amount of love. Before we get into everything that we would like to cover in tonight's show, I want to start off by saying thank you. Not only do I say that for myself, but I also say that on behalf of Stefan as well. You guys really showed us an insane amount of love, considering the fact that our last video was actually our first video of the new year. I know January is almost over, so it doesn't really feel like the year, excuse me, is still all that new.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, and knowing that we had just gotten started just a couple of days ago, things still feel fresh as it should here on 27 Outs.
Yeah.
Shout out to all of the LA fans out there who showed love
Know what I mean?
during the live, even after the fact. We had a gentleman by the name of Norm Lee, who was very active in the comment section, not only in our previous video, but even leading into tonight's video. So I want to give you a
Yeah.
shout out. Stefan, tell us how you're feeling. And let's get this party started by telling us where you would like to start.
Hey man, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling amazing. It's another, chance to get behind the mic with you. So that's always a good time. But hey man, let's start with this Hall of Fame because this class was loaded with some of them ones, you know what I'm saying? And I don't mean to start off on a rant, but damn it, we here. So the one person that didn't vote for Ichiro Suzuki, we need to find where you live, and there needs to be an investigation done into whether you should even have a vote ever again. Like, I don't mean to be hyperbolic, but goddamn, like Ichiro Suzuki is a first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer.
Easily.
That is some horse shit
Right.
that we got to sit here and you got to short this man a vote. Why?
You know what's the crazy thing, Stefan? While I do agree with you entirely, by the way, one of my friends, he made a good point earlier today when we were chatting a bit. Shout out to Andy. He's probably watching tonight. But he reminded me that there are voters who actually have the mindset of, well, I already know that this guy is going in, so let me give it to somebody else who may not receive as many votes.
Respectfully, fuck that. That dude deserved to be unanimous. Do you understand that this guy had 3,000 hits and he didn't play in the big leagues for 8 years before he got his first major league hit? You want to talk about a wizard with the bat? Ichiro Suzuki was that dude. Can we stop and realize how stupid you sound if you're going to say one vote? It's one vote. Andy would have had a point if it's 3, 4, 5 votes, but it's one vote now, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know how crazy you look in the face?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a guy who came over to America probably, at that point in his mid to late 20s?
He was 27 by the time he came here.
Right. He won the Rookie of the Year and the MVP in his first season. Year. And then he went on to, as you mentioned, finish his career with 3,000 plus hits. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the guy won like 10 gold gloves as well.
Yeah.
He had a rifle for an arm. He stole bases like never before. I mean, the guy was just minus the power, but you know what? Ichiro was one of those guys where screw power. Like, it didn't even matter because he was just that good.
Here's the thing. They even said it. Some of his teammates have said, yo, this guy's batting practices were legendary. If he wanted to, he could hit a ball all the way up to the Concord. That shit was gone.
Right.
But he didn't want to sacrifice average. He didn't want to sacrifice the thing that made him a great ball player, which you respect. You respect it. But at the same time, yo, it's one vote. Who the fuck you going to give the vote to? No disrespect to, like, Chase Utley. Come on, stop. Chase Utley could get in next year.
Yeah, speaking of Chase Utley, Stefan, I do want to say something briefly about that because I don't want to spend too much time on the guys who didn't get in. But yeah, man, I think a lot of guys are not deserving to be someone who has a vote when it comes to the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. For example, as you mentioned, Stefan, the one voter who decided not to vote for Ichiro, but then you also have this other group of people who I wouldn't say are exactly like someone like that, but are similar in a way where they vote for guys who don't necessarily belong in the Hall of Fame.
It's not only that. Like, why this is my beef, and we want the people in the audience to comment, give us your thoughts. To the 10 people in here, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. Know what I mean? But like, come on now, man. Like, in all seriousness, this is my issue. The baseball writers should not be the ones that vote for the Hall of Fame. What you should do is you should get a panel of former players,
maybe managers as well.
Yes,
yeah,
and some executives that have watched these guys play, that have put in the time to watch these guys develop and become ball players. Because guess what? I don't want to hear none of that subjective bullshit when it comes to this. We ain't voting for the Hall of Very Good. We voting for the Hall of Fame. Like, I'm sorry, but Ichiro Suzuki deserves to be him and Derek Jeter are the two position players that deserve to be unanimous votes in the Hall of Fame. If you disagree, tell us why.
Right.
Also, here's the other thing. Are we really gonna sit there? All right, so the one vote you didn't give to Ichiro Suzuki, I need to know that you voted for Andrew Jones. If you didn't vote for Ichiro Suzuki, put that name behind Andrew Jones.
Let me ask you this, Stephen. So I'm glad you brought up Andrew Jones, because what I wanted to do here tonight with you was for you to share your ballot if you had a vote. And I also wrote a list of names as well if I were to have the opportunity to vote for someone. Before we get into that, I also want to give shout outs to the other guys who got in. We started off with Ichiro, CC Sabathia, and of course Billy Wagner, who was actually, if I'm not mistaken, this was his 10th season, his final year on the ballot. And listen, I've said this a couple years back, but I genuinely can't believe how a guy like Billy Wagner wasn't in sooner. Now, I'm not saying first ballot. I wouldn't go that far. But I think, listen, people like Mariano Rivera, people like Trevor Hoffman, like those are people who are like literally in their own world, especially Mariano Rivera.
But what I'm saying,
but the reason why I say that is because I think we have to tone it down just a bit, right? Like, we can't just automatically assume that everyone is going to reach that plateau. You get what I'm saying? Like, we can't sit here and expect every power hitter to end their career with just as many home runs as Barry Bonds.
I got you.
You get what I'm saying?
I got you. But here's the thing I'm going to tell you then. Then we should vote for the people that we know truly deserve it. I'm going to be honest with you. Chase Utley shouldn't be on the list. Andy Pettit, I love Andy. Andy should not be on this list.
Really? You think so?
No.
That's interesting. I'm not saying that I disagree.
You know what I'm
However,
saying?
I do know, and I've heard for some time now, that there are some people who believe that he should be in.
Well, if that's how you feel, then do me a favor. Vote him.
Right.
Vote him. Because, look, CeCe, that's a shoo-in. 3,000 strikeouts, 250 plus wins. He's a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame. That's a dude you give the Hall of Fame status to with no problem. Listen, if you don't get in the first 3 ballots, we need to really determine whether you're good enough to make the Hall of Fame.
3 is a little harsh. I'd say 5.
Oh, I give you 5.
10, I'd say 5 years.
I'll give you 5. Like, if you're sitting on the ballot and you are constantly in the fucking where you in the 40 to 45 range,
just enough to kind of remain on the ballot.
Forward, then you don't even deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Like Andy right now, I think this is his 4th year on the ballot. He finished at 27.3%. You in year 4, bruh. If you don't make it, then I don't know if you should make it.
Right. That's
like,
true.
In that particular instance, because what it does is, I'm going to be honest with you, Billy Wagner should not have taken 10 years. And the reason why we penalize Billy Wagner is because Billy Wagner only threw 903 innings for his entire career. With that being said, his strikeout to walk ratio, he had 11.9 strikeout to walk ratio per 9 innings.
Right. We're talking about a guy who finished his career with over 400 saves.
That's craziness.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. And there was a stat today. You know clean saves. When you get a 1, 2, 3 inning, it's a clean save. Do you know he ranks 6th behind Kenley Jansen, Mariano Rivera? I think Dennis Eckersley is on this list. He's at 195 career clean saves with nobody even hit first base.
Right. Just came in, slammed the door shut, and got the W.
That's exactly what it's called. It's called the slam the door stat.
Right.
How are you telling me that this guy waited 10 years to be in the Hall of Fame? Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
Are we? But you're gonna sit there. You're gonna sit there and tell me that, but we're gonna give guys a chance because we just want to keep their names on the ballot. Like, I love David Wright. Get David Wright's name off the ballot.
Yeah, David Wright. And I've said this for some time, like even leading into the end of David Wright's career as a Met,
right?
But not just as a Met, but just as a professional baseball player. But David Wright was one of those guys where earlier in his career, you saw where he could have ended up had he not gotten hurt, right? And I think at this point, especially considering the fact that he's no longer in the league and he missed out on X amount of years,
right?
You're right, Stefan. Why even put a guy on the ballot to waste his time?
So what I'm going to tell you is we got Sox fan in here. Sox fan is in here. I wonder, to me, Dustin Pedroia should be on this ballot. Dustin Pedroia, if you look at Dustin Pedroia's 7-year stretch of his greatness, that motherfucker's a Hall of Famer.
You think so?
Of course. Go look at his numbers for that 7-year period. Dustin Pedroia was that dude.
I know he definitely won an MVP. I believe he won Rookie of the Year. Won a
couple World Series.
Yeah, right.
And he was the heart and soul of that team till he got hurt.
That's a tough one because I certainly remember who Dustin Pedroia was.
Dustin Pedroia
I definitely enjoyed the hell out of his style of play. I love a guy who loves to go the extra mile. Who's down to go out of his way just to make a play.
So while I hate the stat war, I can't stand that stat. I think it's a stupid stat because we still don't know how to quantify it. He has a 5.6 WAR. That's an average, a full run average higher than the average Hall of Famer. This guy's career WAR is like 62, I think his career WAR is.
Right.
He's a 5.6 average year player. What?
So, go ahead.
And if we're going to go by the criteria, because this is the criteria that the writers lay out. When they do this, the criteria is, they call it the first 7. If your first 7, 8 years are what they call black tape, where you're a Hall of Fame, where you're an all-star, you won World Series, you were a key contributor to your team's success.
Consistency is very important too, right?
You're a Hall of Famer at the end of the day. If we're going to go by those statistics, which is how they determine it themselves, you can't now sit here and act like, well, no, the rules change for different people. Also, and I'm letting you go after this, I think writers pick the favorites who they have relationships with. This guy was good to cover. He always gave me extra time when it came for stories. He was always accommodating. So I think writers look at that because at the end of the day, it's a personal relationship.
See, that's a problem because now we're talking about something that could be a conflict of interest, right? Because the Hall of Fame, especially if you're a voter, should only and have nothing else to do other than the fact that this guy played for X amount of years.
Right.
And you believe whether he's Hall of Fame worthy enough or not.
Mm-hmm.
And what you just said, I'm not really a big fan of, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like something like that makes a lot of sense. And I think that's why a lot of votes just end up going to guys who many people would disagree with. Right.
So, for example, if we're being fair, like I love David Ortiz, but let's not act like David Ortiz wasn't named in the Mitchell report.
Oh man, I think you just opened up a can of worms, bro.
I'm just saying.
I hear you.
We can't act like, David Ortiz was fun to cover. He was a good guy. He was this. And I love Poppy.
Yeah,
Poppy should be in the Hall of Fame because I am someone who, controversially or not, I vote for steroid users. If I had a vote, I would vote for steroid users.
So let me ask you this, Stefan. Now that you said that, right? Because we know about the guys who got it,
But
Ichiro, CC,
go
Billy
ahead.
Wagner. But a few minutes ago, and by the way, really quickly before I get into this, guys, we're still going to be on this topic, but go ahead and make sure you follow us on Instagram at 27ounce3c. And for those of you who are watching via YouTube live right now, shout out to all of you. If you're new here, I'm Ivan. That's Stefan. This is 27 ounce. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're going to get into comments soon. But Stefan and I are having a great conversation right now. So a few minutes ago, I did say something about us revealing who we would think is deserving of being in the Hall of Fame, right? I don't know if there's anything else that you want to throw in there before we get into that, but
I just want to tell you that, like, Poppy got in later on. Poppy got in because Poppy had a relationship with a lot of the writers.
Yeah, and he was a likable guy too around the league.
So if we're gonna hold that same standard for Poppy because he was a good guy and he was amenable to the media and people loved him, which is cool. I'm not knocking it. We should have the same type of vigor.
Poppy's funny too, man.
He's hilarious. he's a good dude. But what I'm saying is, and I'm not the biggest Alex Rodriguez fan, right? Alex Rodriguez, just off numbers alone, should be considered more vigorously than he is, right? You look at his numbers, because outside of the steroids, guess what? This guy was unbelievable, and baseball benefited from the steroid use.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Well, now that you mentioned Alex Rodriguez, right? Now, I know there are other guys, and a lot of people say it all the time, who did in fact use and are Hall of Famers as we speak right now, right? Mm-hmm. But don't you think Alex Rodriguez probably made it a little more difficult with the way he handled it, especially when he was dealing with the media?
Yeah, his thing is, it's like, yo, you sued the union. So you sued the whole union. You sued the Yankees. You sued Major League Baseball. Like, that's where he's going to have a hard time. But if you're sitting there telling me that Roger Clemens is not a Hall of Famer and Barry Bonds is not a Hall of Famer, what the fuck are we doing here? What are we doing here? Because guess what? They all benefited. But Ivan, come on now. Let's have a conversation, bro. Me, you, and the family. Because you guys are like our family now. You telling me baseball knowingly benefited from the steroid era.
Right.
Barry Bonds hitting 73, Mark McGwire hitting 61 or however many he hit, 66.
You know, it's funny you say that, Stefan, because people like you and I, and I'm sure a lot of the people who are watching right now, they're gonna watch baseball no matter when the time is, right?
Right.
But I've seen a lot of casual baseball fans who still to this day, they'll have a random conversation about baseball, and immediately one of the first things you hear is, yo, they got to go back to hitting home runs because so many people were tuned in at the time.
You feel me? So when what was the saying? Chicks dig the long ball, right?
Yeah.
If this is the saying that we're going to use and it was applicable back then and it was a part of your slogan in the major league offices, yo, chicks dig the long ball. Now we're going to act like chicks didn't dig the long ball back then when you were raking in the money.
Now the chicks are digging the strikeouts,
right?
Launch angle,
right? And if we could be honest, if we could talk like barbershop talk, don't nobody give a fuck about none of that shit. Let's keep it a full beam. Don't nobody care, bro. Like, we can't have it both ways. If you're gonna put Poppy in, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. A-Rod, different case. I'll give you that. Sue the union, black eye on the game. You look crazy in the face. I'm here for that. But if you're telling me that Roger Clemens, perhaps the greatest pitcher of his era and perhaps the greatest pitcher I've seen in the history of baseball, is not in the Hall of Fame and contributed so much to the game, what the fuck are we doing? Somebody please explain. Because what I'm saying is, it's like me and you benefiting off of something, right? It's like if we benefited off a tax break And now we realize, yo, the tax break ended up doing more harm than good in the long run, but we benefited from it. Guess what? We're gonna remember fondly about that tax break because we was getting paid. Baseball got paid from players using steroids.
Right. By the way, one last reminder regarding this topic. We see a lot of comments, but we also want you guys to let us know how you feel when it comes to steroid users, and also let us know who it is that you would have voted for to make the Hall of Fame this year in 2025. All right, so Stefan, I'm gonna start off first. So three are obvious, right?
Yeah.
I had CC, I
Yeah.
had Ichiro, and I
Yeah.
also had Billy Wagner. Aside from those three,
Mm-hmm.
if I had the opportunity to vote for players to make it to the Hall of Fame, I also would have included Carlos Beltran.
Yeah. He's gonna
Carlos
get in.
Beltran to me is one of the greatest switch hitters of all time, and it's not
Yep.
even up for debate.
Yep.
If
Agreed.
you'd like to debate that, then you might want to argue with yourself.
Agreed.
Now, this last one might surprise a lot of people, right? And I want to start off by saying that because this is obviously a guy who I watched his entire career. And I never really did as much research as I did up until recently, where I digged a little deeper and I saw what he did during his time in totality.
Yeah.
The last person who I would have given a vote to, this might surprise some people, brace yourselves, is Mark Burley. Now, you guys are probably wondering, like, yo, what the heck? Let me elaborate on that because I also want to hear who you would have wanted in too, Stefan.
Yeah.
So here's my reasoning for getting Mark Burley in. And I want to start off by saying this. Mark Burley is a guy who pitched 200 plus innings for 14 consecutive seasons.
Damn.
For 14 years in a row, he pitched 200 plus innings. He's a 4-time Gold Glove Award winner as a starting pitcher. He threw a no-hitter. He threw a perfect game. And oh, yeah, last but not least, he was a part of that 2005 World Series winning White Sox team.
That's talk about it.
Now, I know when you hear the name, it's not really a name that jumps out there. But when you listen to what I just said, please let me know if you guys feel the same.
That's a hell of a point by you because I actually had Mark Burley.
Thank you.
I actually had
I didn't
Mark
want to
Burley
be the
in
only
all of
one. So
no, I'm in there. I had him in there. I had CC in there. I had Ichiro in there, of course. Billy Wagner should have been in years ago to me. It's an injustice that he's not in the Hall of Fame. What the hell are we doing? And I had two more.
I think there was one you mentioned a few minutes ago, which I'm
sure
you're about to get
Andrew
into.
Jones. How is Andrew Jones not in the Hall of Fame? You know, he's one of, I think the stat was like 4 players that's a switch hitter with over 400 home runs, 300 doubles. And I think he has like he has crazy stolen base numbers too. And he won 10 Gold Gloves. Like those Atlanta Braves teams of the 90s aren't as good as they would have been if Andrew Jones wasn't patrolling center field. Andrew Jones to me should be in the Hall of Fame. We should not even be having a discussion about that. And my last guy is Carlos Beltran.
Carlos Beltran, right?
Carlos Beltran. Listen, the sign stealing scandal. I get it. I understand it. I mean, but damn. It's not like he was great in 2017. 2017, by the numbers, was the worst season of his career.
Right. That was also the very end of his career. And listen, I get wrong is wrong, no matter when you do it, whether it be at the beginning of your career, at the climax of your career, or even at the ending, in the case of Carlos Beltran. But I think when you do it at that point in your career, man, I think we should cut some guys some slack.
And also, it's funny because when you hear people talk about Carlos Beltran, the one thing they say is, yo, this guy was the smartest teammate I've ever had. This guy, he could tell me what pitchers were thinking on the mound. He followed the game better than most people do that were managers that were doing this for a living. Carlos Beltran, they say, is one of the smartest players in the game. Also, not to mention, that guy's postseason numbers was just ridiculous. That 8 home run stretch he went on in 2004, where he literally carried the Astros to the championship series. You remember that in 2004 when he went stupid before he signed with the Mets? He went nuts. And you telling me that Carlos Beltran is not a Hall of Famer? Come on, bro.
He is. He should.
He's by far, to me, if he's not first ballot, he should have been second or third ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Carlos Beltran is that good.
You know what? I think had it not been for, what he got caught up with later in his career, I think he'd be in by now.
I agree with you.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree with you.
Because at that point, then there would be no reason to reconsider. There'd be no reason for second thoughts.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Right.
So the 13 people watching, what's up, man? Hit that like, hit that, keep hitting us with the comment section. Follow the YouTube channel for us. Hit that follow one time. And also turn on the notification bell. So every time we go live, you guys know what it is, man. But let's get to some of these comments, man. Because
let's do it.
Got a few interesting comments in here. So Ivan, I'm gonna let you pick a few out and we'll go from there.
All right. Let's see. We got my cousin here. He's here showing some love. Yo, what's up?
What's up?
Let's see. Norm Lee says the identities of Hall of Fame voters need to be disclosed.
Yes, Norm. Hold on, bro. Hold on, bro. I know we've been going back and forth, but you know what, bro? You just made a great comment, and you out here spitting facts.
Who the heck is the one idiot? He said.
You deserve one of those.
We agree.
Hell yeah.
Sox fan for life. He says David Wright is actually his favorite player. Wow. Coming to Sox fan. Okay.
Okay.
He also says Pedroia was unreal for 7 and 8 years. Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
That was something that Stephen didn't mention.
They're gonna, because that's the criteria that they go by. The writers even tell you they call it the 7 black years, like it's black tape. This guy was that dude for like 8 seasons, bro.
Let's see. Go ahead. You want to pick some?
This one's funny. No, he said, he's like, I like arguing with myself because I always win. Where's that comment? That's funny.
Oh, I see it right here.
That's funny. That's funny. King Cash, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so, brother. Help.
Yeah, your name looks new here, bro. Welcome to the channel, bro.
Type a hashtag new. He said, Roger who? Roger who? I see you. King Cash, who are you a fan of, brother? Let David write in also because he didn't deny almost.
No, he's talking about David Ortiz. All right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, he got in. David Ortiz is in the Hall of Fame, but I think
they let David in.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it should be. This is an interesting comment right here. King Felix might be another. That
yes, I think King Felix falls underneath that same category. Johan Santana, yeah.
See, what hurt King Felix was he spent a lot of his great years on bad teams.
Right, like, really bad teams.
The guy I'm really wondering about, because he had a crazy stretch and he was ridiculous. But I wonder what it looks like. Is you're a Dodger fan? You from LA, bro?
Welcome, bro. Welcome.
Getting a lot of LA love. We appreciate it.
Shout out to LA. Yo, by the way, man, all the LA love. You guys kind of inspired me to look in my closet, and I completely forgot that I had even bought this World Series tee. You guys see it here?
Know what I mean?
Ohtani, got Judge on the back. You got the rosters.
Talk about it.
So shout out to the Dodgers fan, man. Like, we really appreciate all of you guys.
Shout out to everybody that's in here, man. California, we praying for y'all, man. No forest fires and no joke. Everybody affected by them things, we praying for y'all. If you in Cali, stay strong right now. You know what I mean? We send you our love.
This one right here is really good. Norm says, I will never support any member of the 2017 Houston Astros in the Hall of Fame. That's an interesting one because the one guy on the team right now who easily comes to mind when I think about the Hall of Fame, and I'm sure you feel the same way, Stefan, is Jose Altuve. By the time his career is over, when you just look at the numbers, now I know I just referenced Norm's comment there.
Right.
But if you just look at the numbers, by the time his career is over, Jose Altuve is a Hall of Famer.
You can make the argument, yeah.
We're talking about one of the greatest second basemen of all time.
You can make the argument.
Especially with the bat.
Yeah, you can make the argument. Yup. You can. LOL, shout out Judge. All right, man. I like that.
I appreciate the love, man.
I like that.
You see, by you saying something like that, Cash, we could already tell you're not here on some
You a real
hating,
one.
you know?
You a real one. You a real one. Listen, man, for real. I just want to say this too for the record. The Hall of Fame is like really, really hard. That's why I want it to be players and executives and people in the game that know how hard this is to do. Like me and Ivan should never get a vote because we never played.
I would like one. If they were to give me one, I'll take it.
I mean, we both would.
We'll straighten that shit out real quick.
Right. We both would, but because I want to make it fair, right? I don't want there to be a subjective, but this writer didn't vote for this person because this writer felt like this person. No. Motherfucker, you don't have the athletic skill set to play the game. Leave it to the dudes that have played. Put a committee together. Put a few people on a committee. Put a 6-person committee together. And they're going to decide who makes the Hall of Fame and who doesn't. Like, at the end of the day, like, why are we giving these writers this much power? And also, can I be real? Can I say this? If you don't disclose your ballot, you're fucking soft. If we don't know who voted for who, they should strip your ballot. We should know publicly who voted for who.
Right.
Because I'm still pissed off that Ichiro didn't get the full 100%. I sat there and saw that shit, and I was like, so we just going to allow him to, we ain't going to crucify this dude?
You know, as crazy as this may sound, Stefan,
you crazy?
I also did believe, even going back to his playing days, right? Like before Ichiro made the decision to hang it up, I had already thought all along that he was going to be getting in at 100%, right?
He should have. You right.
But with some of the stories that we hear about certain voters and their ideology when it does come time to vote for guys to get into the Hall of Fame, the fact that he did not get the full 100 does not surprise me, though. And that's a shame. That's definitely a problem.
You're right, man. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. See, I was on this train for a little bit, but they won 2 more World Series since 2017. Now, as a Yankee fan, I could be bitter because I'm sitting there thinking about it and I'm like, damn, y'all cost us a chance. Y'all cost us and the Dodgers a chance in 2017 to see each other. But the reality of it is they won 2 more after that. And they got to what? How many more? 4 more? After that, they went in 19. They won in 19, right? They went in lost.
They only got 1 more actually after 2017.
They got 1 more after 2017.
It was 2022.
So who they lose to in 2019? I know they made the series in 19.
Yeah, they made it in 17. They made it in 19, 2021 and 2022.
That's a lot of years of making the World Series, bro. Like at that point, I understand the cheating changed a lot of things, but you still made the World Series though, which should speak to something, right? Even if they were cheating, and it does come out that they were cheating, the Nationals in 2019. Thank you, Rick.
Right.
Then if it does come out,
that's when Steven Strasburg gave up his right arm to finally take them down.
When he turned into Cyborg, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. By the way, I've heard a lot of people say this, and I definitely agree with this. Still to this day, I think that everything that Strasburg did during that time, especially in that postseason, I think that was all he had left in the tank.
I mean,
but what better way to go out?
Yeah, he went out on his square like a G. Like, all right, bro, my arm is done. I'm never gonna pitch the same way again. But I got the chip though, and I got a bag after it, so I win. It's a win-win for me. It's a win-win for me.
What better way to do it than the team that every single fan base was looking forward to seeing them lose, right? After what we found out.
Yeah, it's like me and you talking earlier today. It's like some Floyd Mayweather shit. You finally got to see the big bad bully Astros get that ass whooped. So appreciate y'all in DC, man.
Right.
Appreciate y'all. But speaking of the Dodgers.
Oh boy, those damn Dodgers again. Right when you think they're done, they're not. And I know we're about to get into it, Stefan, but something tells me they might not be done yet. I don't know. At this rate, you just can't count them out at all.
Nah, you can't. And you know what? I'm gonna be that guy that's a bit contrarian. Why would you? Why would you? Don't count them out. Keep going. You know why? Step on these dudes' necks out here. Make them have to spend money. Make them feel you out here. Don't be afraid. If you don't like what the Dodgers are doing, then go spend some money your damn selves. Keep stacking up. Because at least there's one ownership group and one general manager in the league that wants to win more than they want to breathe. Shout out to the Dodgers. Keep going, yo.
And you know what's the crazy part too? And I was one of these people, so I'm going to start off by saying that. But I remember going into the postseason, there were so many people who were counting the Dodgers out because they didn't have enough pitching, or at least that's what it looked like from the outside looking in, right?
Right.
We talked about it in previous shows, so I'm not going to get into every single thing again. But the one thing that people had an issue with when it came to the Dodgers is literally the thing that they addressed in such a huge way this offseason. Blake Snell, Sasaki, Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates.
Oscar.
Like they said, what? You said we don't have enough pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Now what?
Now, the thing that's a bit concerning if you're a Dodger fan, though, shout out to Norm. Norm, yo, shout out to you, brother. You've been in the comments doing the Lord's work, man. We appreciate you. The one thing you will say about the Dodgers is they knew that something was wrong with Michael Kopech because it came out today from a couple different places that super reliever Michael Kopech has been dealing with some tendonitis in the elbow. He's not feeling 100%, and he's expected he may miss the first month of the regular season. Right?
I mean, what do you expect when a guy is throwing as hard as he does? You know,
and he was dealing with some stuff during the playoffs, but he pitched through it. But credit the Dodgers for going, yo, we don't want to be left in the lurch where this dude Walker Buehler, where we have to have a Walker Buehler close out a game. Now, it worked for them because they won the World Series. But that's what you call not resting on your laurels and saying, you know what, bro, we're going to go for it. We're going to go for it.
I just want to remind a lot of people about something too. And when I say a lot of people, I'm referring to the people who are, and I hate to say this because I'm not this type of fan, and I don't really understand why anybody would be this type of fan. But you have the people who are literally saying like, yo, do you really believe all of those guys are going to stay healthy for the entirety of a full season? And it's like, dude, did you not just watch them win the World Series banged up in 2024?
Yes.
Like, come on now. Are we serious? Like, I'm sorry to say, I'm not even a Dodgers fan, but yo, we can't doubt these guys.
Nah, you can't.
They deserve to be viewed as that team.
And
until
again,
proven otherwise.
And again, we're going to say this because Norm brings up a good comment here. Shout out to Norm. You out here bringing the fire, brother. I now expect the Dodgers to make, you know what? I've heard the same thing. And the one thing that you expect the Dodgers to now do is wherever there's a proficiency and a deficiency and a weakness, they can go attack it any way they choose to.
What weakness? What weaknesses?
Well,
what weaknesses, bro? Because they got dudes ready to rock and roll right off the bench.
You can make an argument that their outfield is not the best right now.
Give me that outfield with that roster, bro. But I understand your point.
Listen, I'm just playing devil's advocate and saying this. They can literally right now, if they wanted to, they can literally right now tell you, yo, you know what? We're going to go get Luis Robert because we can. Just to fill a spot. We can literally do whatever we want, and it's not going to cost us anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's the greatness of a front office who decides, you know what, bro? We're good, but we could be better. How many times as a you know what? And you know what this shows me, bro? It shows me that their window's never going to close because they're never going to allow themselves to either to be outbid. And they're always going to find a workaround. And if you're a fan of a team, you want to know, yo, the window's going to be open for as long as it can be open. Because how many times we watch a team win a World Series and then they like, we're not going to do nothing for the next couple years. We're just going to let this one chip rock. They keeping it going. Like, yo, we're trying to win 3-4 of these things. You heard? How can you not? How can you not respect that if you were a baseball fan?
Well, they've won, if I'm not mistaken, 2, right, in the past 5 years.
Right.
Yeah,
And Rick makes a good point here. Shout out to Rick. They need an actual shortstop.
I agree. Yes.
So you can literally right now, if there's a shortstop available on the trade market, and I don't know who would be available because shortstop is, let's just say for instance, and I'm throwing this out there. Let's just say for instance, Toronto decides to put Bo Bichette on the trading block come mid-June, early July. If the Dodgers feel like Bo Bichette is an upgrade, guess what? They can go get Bo Bichette.
Mm-hmm.
Do they do that? I don't know, but they could.
Mm-hmm.
And you at least want assurances that you can go get Bo Bichette if that is necessary for what you're trying to achieve. If you are a fan, if you are a fan of baseball, whether you hate it or not, you at least gotta admire, yo, these dudes got every stone unturned. They got every base covered. They got 2 or 3 dudes for basically every position outside of shortstop.
Right. I honestly believe that the Dodgers, with everything that they've done over the past couple of years, are putting themselves in a position to be that next dynasty.
Mm.
I think it would not surprise me if they go on a run that is very similar to the late 90s Yankees.
Yeah.
Like legit.
Yeah. And I think the beautiful thing about it is you did it to yourself. The reason why I don't feel sympathy for none of these owners and for these people that say the Dodgers cheated, it's not fair. I don't feel sympathy for none of you guys. Do you know why? Because you have the ability to do what the Dodgers do, and you just choose not to.
That's right.
So at least somebody is out there deciding, you know what? We have deficiencies and we want to fix them. What'd you say? They were banged up last year.
Yeah.
So what they do? They went out, they got more depth pieces. Tanner Scott, you Oz now. Kirby Yates, you Oz now. Blake Snell, you Oz now. Oh, and that's not to mention Yamamoto, less innings, no elbow issues. Otani, right. You coming back from Tommy John, you could pitch in August. We good. I'm not saying they do that, but they can if they want to. Don't take my words literally,
I think, and I think I may have said this to you already, Stefan. But if not, I also want to share with everybody here tonight.
Said you described the Yankees.
I got the Dodgers. And I know you don't really see stuff like this happening
right
as often as it once did back then. But I got the Dodgers winning like 110 plus games, bro.
I think that's
fair. I have them winning 100 games in their sleep, and then I could see them winning an additional 10 plus more.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I think if they don't win at least between 105 and 108, I'm disappointed. You should be killing everybody in the NL West. The NL West should be over by the time the month of July rolls around. You should
by
be
the time it's May. After April should be a wrap.
Yo, what? Not May, but like I'll give you to like mid-July, early August. Get that shit wrapped up.
Mm-hmm.
You literally got fans of other teams in the NL West going, yo, can we join up with the Rockies, the Diamondbacks? Can we just all form one team to take these dudes out? It's like Voltron. You ever seen the movie Transformers? They trying to form Voltron.
Yeah.
To take out the Dodgers. Yo, I don't hate it. I know other people do, but I don't see. And you know what's the other thing? Dodger fans may relish in this and may rebel in this and may be excited by this. If I'm a Dodger fan, I kind of like that the whole baseball world's coming for my neck. You know what that means? Because I'm doing something right. If you guys are all sitting there hating on our success, that means we're doing something right.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I've heard that saying where people say, if you ain't got no haters, that mean you ain't doing something right.
You feel me? So it's like, yo, let them hate us. You know what I mean? I think listen, whether or not it happens or not, they're a shoo-in to go to the World Series for the next 4 consecutive seasons.
Right.
And I don't even think it should be an argument. Now, because you see a scenario in which a wild card team does get hot and decides like, yo, your super team don't matter. Fuck what you talking about. We winning the series anyway.
It's
I can see
possible.
it. But is it likely that if everybody's healthy and clicking on all cylinders, like Ohtani had a bad World Series, and the Dodgers dominated that World Series. Freddie Freeman turned into friggin' a human cyborg.
Yeah, what Freeman did in the World Series is something that people are going to be talking about 20 to 30 years from now, man. A guy who was hobbling around on one leg, and then he woke up one day and said, you know what?
Freddie is something else.
We winning this World Series, no ifs, ands, or buts.
And notice, I think they showed a video of him like a week after. This guy's in a walking boot. He had surgery. So you were literally playing on one leg, and you were killing.
Right.
Killing. Respect it. Don't gotta like it, but respect it. There's a shit ton of comments here. Let's get to some of these.
Let me just remind people before we do the comments. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at 27outs3C. And to those of you who are watching, we appreciate the love. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We have a goal for ourselves, and we're hoping that you guys can help us get there tonight.
Yeah, man.
But if not, listen, we still appreciate the love nonetheless. So let's get that done.
So I want to read some of these comments because
go ahead.
Ton. So where we at? I strongly believe Freeman is willing to spend wildly the past 2 years of explaining stopping.
That's possible.
Could be it. You're right.
It could be that, Norm, or this could be the start of what we're going to see moving forward for the next however many years.
They might have changed the landscape of how baseball is done in terms of the actual business of baseball, because if you look at it and if the Dodgers win with this formula, there's going to be other teams that now try to copy this exact same formula, because sports is very copycatish. It's like, well, they won spending this money. Why can't we? You know what I mean? So I think that all right, let's see. There's a few other comments here.
Wow, I see one. I'm gonna choose this one step before.
Yeah, man.
King Cash says the Dodgers window is next 3 years. Really?
You sound like me, King. We got a new subscriber, Jonathan.
Hey, shout out
to
Jonathan,
up, bro?
Man, new fan and subscriber. You enjoy the podcast. We appreciate the love.
You, man.
And look at that lovely picture of Shohei Ohtani there. Jonathan, by the way, what are you, a Dodgers fan? Clearly, we know that
he got to be a Dodger. No, but he got to be a Dodger fan if you got the Ohtani profile pic, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let's see. Rick says, shouts out to Norm. You that dude. You got your posts on the league. Love those kinds of fans. Yeah, man. Listen, no matter who you are a fan of, come by, chat, show some love, because we're for everyone, right? We're not for this team more than any other. We're here to talk about literally every single thing that you guys want to get into.
Yo, Norm, you about to win Super Fan of the Night, my boy. You out here about to win Super Fan of the Night. Yo, Norm had me and Norm going back and forth in the comments yesterday.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, brother.
By my boy, man. He says, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
Oh, here, Dodger fan. Cool. Norm, the one thing I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I've been yelling this for about 2 years now. Razor, Rick, you could attest to this. Ivan, you could attest to this. If anybody's been in here when we talked about the CBA and all this other stuff, I've been yelling this for about 2 seasons now. Matter of fact, remember when the last one was ratified? And the year after we started talking, I was like, yo, I think there's going to be a lockout as soon as this one ends.
Yeah, we're going to be right back here. Yeah,
we're going to be right back here. And I remember saying this to you guys because if you look at it, there's a lot of things that are happening. One, I think there's going to have to be an international draft. That's going to happen. You can't keep having handshake agreements with 15, 16, 17-year-olds.
Yeah, the fact that that's not already a thing, like let's get some of these teams who
are competing, like,
to get their hands on some of this
right.
talent.
Because if you ain't going to spend money at the top of the free agent market, it has to even out somehow. So I think there's going to be amateur draft like there is for the college draft, an amateur draft is going to happen. The other thing that I believe is going to happen, and me and Norm, we agree on this too, the owners are going to push for a salary cap. And guess what? It ain't going to happen. The players will literally sit. That's one thing that they will die on the hill for. They'll tell you to the death, yo, fuck what you talk about respectfully. We're not doing that. Right? So if that is indeed the case, then you got a big problem on your hands, because now it's just not about just the money and the economics. Now you're talking about changing the way these players make their money, the deals they sign. Also, I could see another thing being put into play, and I want you guys to comment on this in the chat too. I think what has to happen, we got to get rid of the arbitration system. Yo, dog, get rid of it. Do what they do in the NBA. Make it so that if you're in the big leagues for 4 full seasons and you're able to at least say, yo, we played a certain amount of games in these 4 full seasons, and I've been here for 4 years, I automatically qualify for free agency.
Right.
Because you can't talk about both sides of your face about how the middle of the market, we don't want to pay the middle of the market because they're 29, 30-year-olds like a Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso, to me, would have benefited if he was a free agent by the time he was what, 28?
Mm-hmm.
He probably would have been a better player in terms of his ability, number one, to be productive for the long term of the contract. Also, what it also does is it really shows you who can play and who can't. Because now you got to put consistent numbers up. Now you can't have one good year, one bad year, one good year, one bad year. Now you got to be like, all right, bro, I got to put a good 2-3 years together in order to get paid.
Right. The other one thing I did want to say, or at least add on to Stephen, you mentioned arbitration. And this is something that I've thought about for quite some time now. Mm-hmm. But that arbitration stuff, I mean, guys are getting robbed, right?
Word.
Like, a good example would be Jared Duran and his situation recently with the Boston Red Sox, and the fact that they had to go back and forth. And when Jared Duran had a hell of a season in 2024, like, why are we even arguing about, what was it, like 500,000, $1 million? It wasn't even a crazy amount.
The shit is crazy.
That the Red Sox no longer spend money how they once did.
It's
you
disgusting.
Really going to sit here and say you don't want to cough that amount of money up?
Here's the other thing that's crazy too, that I'm sitting here sick with. I'm gonna be honest. Yo, you the Cubs, you Tom Ricketts, the Cubs owner, who says, oh, he's tired of being called out by the fans, being called cheap, being da-da-da. Do you know what he did to Kyle Tucker? Kyle Tucker asked for 17.5. Do you know the Cubs came in at 15 million and were about to take this dude to the arbitration table until both sides agreed to a compromise, which got him $16.5 million?
That's a slap in the face. The fact that you just traded for Kyle Tucker and almost got to that point.
So what I would say is, for everybody that says the Cubs are going to pay Kyle Tucker, there's a snowball chance in hell of me walking backwards, getting out of my wheelchair and walking backwards in the snow, than the Cubs retaining Kyle Tucker in free agency. Hell no.
There's already a few teams knocking on his front door. They just waiting for Kyle Tucker to just open it up and let them in.
I mean, shit. I can think of a few right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wonder if you give the Mets true serum, what would they rather have? If they could do this over, would you rather have Juan Soto, or would you rather have Kyle Tucker, who's a complete player?
That's interesting. Or how about this? Let's look into the future, right? Let's ask this instead, Stephen. If you're the Mets, would you rather Kyle Tucker or Vladdy Jr.?
Talk about it.
2 guys who are going to be available next offseason.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing you should ask the Yankees too, and the Red Sox.
Yeah,
the Red Sox need to be asked that question, because I think the Red Sox, at some point, the Red Sox got to act like the Red Sox, bro. Because if you don't, what the hell are we doing here? The international draft will be very difficult. Clubs and leagues in Japan, Korea, Mexico, and Cuba will need to be on board. The compensation is, but you know what, man? We at least got it to be a little bit more even, right? Like, it has to be a little bit more even. There has to be some sort of give and take. we already see how um how difficult it is for the teams at the lower bottom of the league to retain their star players.
Right.
At that point, there needs to be a come to Jesus where it's like, all right, bro, we can't spend at the top of the free agent market, but there has to be a little bit of give back. There just has to be. And also, too, I think what the union should be all for this, because we are tired of being exploited. These players, you should want to be given a fair shot. How many players right now were in limbo because you had the Dodgers and Padres telling their agreements, yo, we might not be able to sign y'all. See if y'all can get deals somewhere else because we want to save a lot of money for Sasaki. That should not be allowed. I'm not saying Sasaki shouldn't have signed with the Dodgers. Good for him. But the ability for a team to tell its future signees, yo, hold up. Now, we're not doing that. Give us a little time. Let us figure this out. So you're going to just string these cats along? What are we doing? How's that fair? Just want to get that out.
Yeah. I see some of the comments. Thank you for bringing one up, Stefan. We got a couple of people who are saying that they believe that 2025, well, at least the World Series at that fact is going to be a rematch of the 2024 World Series. So we're looking at a part 2. Listen, I say let's make it happen. Let's get the East Coast and the West Coast back in the World Series, and let's run it up again.
Yo, listen, man. If it's Yankees Dodgers in the World Series again, guess what? Depending on the number of subscribers we get, we might have to do a watch along. We fly out to LA, or some of y'all fly out here, and we do a 27-ounce watch party, man. I would love to do that. If the numbers of the channel keep going up, man, I would love to do that. I agree. It's awesome.
Wow. Look at this comment here. Sox fan for life says he thinks neither of them makes the World Series.
Yo, Sox fan. Yo, my boy.
Neither.
Wow. I so then when you say that, I need an explanation as to why, and I need to know who's gonna be in their places.
That's a very bold statement. Now, I could see one of them not making it, but neither's
wild.
Right.
Like I can see a situation where I don't see the Yankees making out of the American League. I
could see that.
I could see it.
And when it comes to the National League, somebody just has to show me otherwise, right? It's not that it's not possible.
Listen,
it certainly is. But I think the National League belongs to the Dodgers and the Dodgers only.
Until further notice, until one of you guys steps up and decides to do something.
Yeah, because listen, I'm going to be honest. I know the Padres and how that team looks. I know the Giants were aggressive this offseason, but I don't think they did enough.
Andy off the top rope with the San Diego. Listen,
San Diego? How many times are we going to be banking on San Diego, though, Andy? Let me ask you that. So, they made it interesting by going to Game 5 of the NLDS against them last season, right? But they fell short. They also fell short when they had more. Back when they had Josh Hader, Juan Soto, Blake Snell. So on a serious note, the Padres could in fact be that team. I don't want to sit here and act like they can't do it, but I kind of feel like people have been relying on the Padres to be that team for a few years now, and they haven't been able to get over that hump yet.
Well, what I will say is I don't trust the Padres in a big spot. I just
Look at this. Well, for the NL, you mean? No, that's not happening, bro. Just to remind you, Sox fan for life, you do know that the Braves lost Max Fried. We'll start there. You do know that the Braves also lost Charlie Morton. Now, I know he's an older guy, but he's certainly a guy who's going to give you innings. They also lost Minter, left-handed reliever who went to the Mets. So I need you to elaborate on that. Like, what makes you believe that? Because the Braves haven't actually given us an answer after losing out on those guys.
Also, real quick, this is something else that needs to be pointed out. What's the dude that got Tommy John last year? that was pitching for the Braves. What's his name?
Is it Strider? Spencer
Spencer
Strider?
Strider. He's not going to pitch till probably the middle or end of 2025. Ronald Acuna is coming off another knee injury.
Yeah, and by the way, with the way he's dealing with knee injuries at this point in his career, he's gonna have to change the way he plays the game.
Yeah, that's a gamble, bro.
Stolen bases, you're gonna have to cut that short, buddy.
Yeah. To the 13 people in here, let's get a like, let's get a subscribe, turn on that notification bell, man. Let's
all that. Follow us on Instagram, 27out3C. Hit that subscribe button if you are new here. Welcome.
AL, Texas, or Detroit. I don't see either one of those teams. Neither one of those teams I see making a run at it. Texas, I give more of a shot to than Detroit. But neither one of those teams are.
Well, let me say this: a Sox fan for life. Are you just like throwing teams out there, or do you genuinely believe that both the Yankees and the Dodgers are not going to make it to the World Series?
He's trying to be a contrarian. You heard? I see you.
The Braves, I don't see it at all. Texas, I don't see it at all. Detroit, I don't think they've done enough.
Nah, Detroit hasn't done enough. Unless, because even if you bring in Alex Bregman, which they don't seem to want to do, like, I don't know, man.
We got a funny guy here. King Cash says, you get one or the other. Like or subscribe. Nah, how about both, King Cash? If you really rock with us, give us both, bro. Come on.
Nah, you gotta get both, bro. I think Braves are sellers at the deadline. Let me ask you this very important question, Razor. Who's worth selling? Who's worth it? Austin Riley's on a huge contract. Ozzie Albies, maybe he's been hurt the last few years. Who they selling?
That's interesting, man. You know what's crazy? Isn't it crazy how quickly the tables could turn in the sport? Like just a couple of years ago, we were looking at the Braves being the team that was going to hold it down in the National League for years to come. Then you got the Dodgers who just kicked down the door and was like, oh, hell to the no. It is us.
The problem with that Ronnie thought is people want to know he's healthy and can do it for consecutive seasons. So he has to be healthy. I don't think anybody's just going to take a risk on trading for Ronald Acuna when he's had several knee injuries. So that, we disagree on. He's going who's that? VOS. Who's VOS? Or you mean? I'm kind of confused.
Oh, unfortunately, he's saying Bregman gonna go to Boston because his next comment was BOS.
No, well, you should be happy if he goes to Boston because aren't you a Red Sox fan?
Yeah, and then you're able to get Rafael Devers away from third base.
But he might be saying unfortunately because he might want Vladdy to play first next year.
Yeah.
Arizona, yep.
I see Arizona and Philly being more of a threat than the Braves.
You see, I don't like Philly. I don't like the Phillies.
Yeah, well, Philly is also another one of those teams that fall underneath the category of I thought you were going to do more this offseason and you didn't.
I mean, they can't. Financially, they're up against it. They can't. What can they possibly do? They can't. AZ is definitely going to be I agree with you. That
now here's the thing, Cash. See, I'm not saying that I disagree with you, but I think a whole lot needs to go in favor of the Diamondbacks in order for them to even do that. Whereas the Dodgers, they don't got to play perfect baseball to beat a team like Arizona.
But what I will tell you is the reason why I kind of agree with Cash's point is the Diamondbacks pitching could beat anybody in a short series.
Yeah, but they also need a couple of guys to bounce back. Like you need Eduardo Rodriguez to come back. You need the guys such as Merrill Kelly. Who else am I? Zach Gallen to still be those guys as well, Corbin Burns, I mean, you hope that he's able to go there. I mean, he has pitched in the National League before.
Right.
But you just hope that he's able to sustain what he's been able to do for so long.
On paper, if I'm telling you, short series, let's stack these rotations up. Arizona's rotation is probably outside of the Dodgers. They have the second best rotation in the National League.
Right.
So if you put them in a short series, there's a way where Arizona can scare you because you got to face Burns twice.
But what I would one team, and I know you said you don't really have them making much noise, but the Phillies, that rotation ain't bad, brothers. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez.
So let me ask you a very important question. Who's coming out of the bullpen? You? Who's coming out of that bullpen?
Well, you're right, because they lost Jeff Hoffman to the Blue Jays, and one of their other guys is still, I believe, available as we speak, Carlos Estevez. So I feel you.
Right. So like their bullpen has been one of the reasons why they haven't been able to put together. And that's one thing that you can say about Dave Dombrowski. He's never put together a bullpen in his years as being a general manager. Gonna play second, block. Oh, so you don't want them to block one of your young prospects. I see. Mets can be Mets can be a threat, but I wouldn't trade for Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Not worth it, yeah. When you can just give
I
him
would
whatever
wait
he wants.
till he becomes a free agent and pay him more money than anybody could pay him.
Right.
Phillies get Luzardo. Yeah, but
Right.
Luzardo is also... See, I wonder this, though. I wonder if the Phillies dangle a guy like Ranger Suarez, who's going to be a free agent at the end of the season, who's a Scott Boras client, who's going to want every single dollar he could possibly get. I wonder if they trade him before they even have to deal with the headache of trying to give him a multi-year deal and lose him for nothing. I'm not saying that happens, but I'm saying that could be something that they at least explore the possibility of. And one team that I think that could use a Ranger Suarez, and I'm going to keep beating this drum till the Baltimore Orioles decide to trade some of those damn prospects for some pitching.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Go trade, go do something, Baltimore, because you're looking crazy in the face right now. Please.
Take advantage, especially being one of those teams that really isn't in contention. And when it does finally happen, it's only for a short amount of time, right? Take advantage while it's in front of you.
Yeah, like, see, the second half of this statement, I agree with. Get some starters and they can give LA a fight.
Yeah, the starting pitching is so important for them, man.
My problem is, I'm sorry, but I'm totally against trading for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I'm totally against it.
Yeah. The only reason I would say it makes sense for any team that is interested in getting a guy like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. by the deadline is if you're a team that doesn't really have the funds to be able to sit at the table with the Mets, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, and whoever else is going to be interested in Vladdy. Like, if you're a team who has the prospects and you just so happen to have a hell of a 2025, yo, go for it. Like, he might only be with you for 2 to 3 months, but go for it.
So, for example, here's the interesting point, though, right? I wonder, and this is a point that I'm wondering out loud. Chat, follow me on this chat. There's a point that I'm wondering out loud. The point that I'm wondering out loud is, I wonder if at some point a team that is desperate enough, that knows they're on the cusp of doing something special, I wonder if Texas parts with a Jack Leiter Jr., parts with some of their prospects and says, yo, Corey Seager's getting older, Marcus Simeon's getting older, Adolis Garcia is not the same player we thought he was a couple years ago. Let's trade for Vladdy. Let's try to knock off the Astros, and let's try to win the AL West once again. That's somebody I could see getting desperate because they know, number one, Houston's vulnerable. Number two, Texas, the one thing I say about Texas, I don't know if he goes to Texas, but no state income taxes in Texas is a mother, boy. If you ain't got to pay no state income tax and you get all that bread, I think about going to Texas. Right. And that lineup with those boys, I ain't mad at it. Now, I do think Jake Berger ends up playing first base for all intents and purposes, so I don't think they do that because I think Jake Berger is their first baseman. However, if you talk about a team that is, because you mentioned a team desperate enough to do something, right?
Yeah.
Here's another team I'm gonna point out. What if the A's do it for a couple months? Like if they're in it.
Oh, come on, bro. Nah, don't do that.
But
I
I'm
thought
saying
you were gonna come with like a serious approach, bro. But I get your
hold
point.
on. But what I'm saying is Houston is weaker. The AL West is winnable. But anybody saying it is winnable. It's not like Houston has that shit on lock.
I think it's a 3-team race for me. I think it's between the Mariners, the Astros, and the Rangers. Who do you guys think wins the NL East division? For me, it's a toss-up between either the Braves or the Phillies. I don't think the Mets have done enough to win that division just yet.
All right, so let me ask you a question.
And who do you have, Stephen?
If they bring Alonso back, I'll put the Mets in the conversation.
Okay, I like that. Yes, that's a great point.
I don't think they get either player, though. But then again,
I'll say this. I think they end up with either Kyle Tucker, Vladdy Jr., or Murakami. They're going to get one out of the three.
I can see that.
Right.
And I think one ends up in Boston and the other one ends up with the Yankees.
Or they just might somehow end up
with Vladdy goes to the Mets. Or Vladdy goes to the Mets with his buddy Soto and forms the WBC Dominican team over there.
Yeah, that would be dope, man, to be able to see guys like Juan Soto, Vladdy Jr., Francisco Lindor in the same lineup.
You know why? Because I'm trying to think outside the box. The reason why you're mentioning the A's, because what do they have to lose? What do they have to lose? If you lose him for 3 months anyway, let's say the A's, I'm not saying the A's are going to do anything, right? But like you signed Severino. You signed Rooker to an extension. You're like, you were competitive at the end of last year, right? Like at some point, you got to try and take the next step forward. Is it a gamble because you get them for a couple months? Yes. But sometimes when you feel like, yo, we're on the cusp, we could maybe make a run for it. Do something. Sometimes you got to do something a little crazy. And it is Billy Beane. Billy Beane's known to have been doing some crazy things in his day. Like, do I think it happens? No. But you can't dismiss teams that are on the rise that are trying to do something. Also, Oakland is trying to make sure that they keep the revenue up for the new stadium when they move to Vegas. So they're going to have to spend more money than they've been spending in previous years. Do they do it? No. But I also think there's something that you at least have to consider.
So I have a question here. And Jonathan left a comment that is where my question comes from. Max Muncy is a free agent after this year. Mm-hmm. Max Muncy is also a guy who's about to be 35 years old in 2025.
Right.
Since we have LA Dodgers fans here in the chat tonight, let me ask you this. Do you guys love Max Muncy that much that you want the Dodgers to bring him back? Or are you ready and willing to move on from Max Muncy to get some of the other guys who we're talking about here tonight?
Mm-hmm. Like, because I think Murakami's a shoe-in I think Murakami's the guy.
Yes, he does. Right.
Yeah. The rosters are
the AL West. Wow.
The rosters are pretty much final in the NL East race. Like, ain't nothing astronomical that's gonna happen from now till.
Well, the Phillies and the Braves have shown us that they're not doing anything. So
right.
If anybody does something, then what is it? The Mets, maybe?
The Mets are gonna have to do the Mets might have to be forced to re-up with Alonso.
Right.
Because look at that lineup you rolling out. Lineup's not that good. Yeah, 35. I can taste them.
Whoa. Alfred, welcome to the channel, by the way. Your name looks new.
Yeah.
But this is, you'll let Muncy walk for Arenado. So really, with every other move that y'all made this offseason, you still want Arenado?
Really? Listen, explain that. First of all, Alfred, before you do, hit that like, hit that. We appreciate the comment, but also subscribe to the channel, brother. We want to hear your thoughts. That's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
That right there is fascinating to me.
Hey, what about guys here? TD. Yo, shout out to the guy, TD. Yo, TD, we miss you, bro. TD, we actually went live for the first time this year, just a couple nights ago, and not only were we thinking about you, but Sox fan for life as well.
We get that part, but you got to make moves from now till then. You can't be paralyzed with fear because a lockout's coming in 2 years. Miss you too, bro.
We appreciate it, bro.
He back. We might move Mookie to third next year.
By the way, let me say this. Now that you said that, King Cash, by the time Mookie Betts decides to retire,
King Cash is on his troll shit.
Y'all better put like some sort of statue or something out there, because most players who are elite, because that is what Mookie Betts is, but not only players who are elite, but players who earn the type of money that Mookie Betts is earning as a Dodger. A lot of those guys, they're not down to do stuff like that, bro.
Yeah.
When I say the Dodgers should be bowing down to Mookie Betts for him making it that easy to go from right field to shortstop and who knows, maybe third. I know you say that jokingly, but no, but I get it.
Here's the thing. He's amenable to everything, though, which is why you should show him the love, mad love, because he's amenable to going everywhere you put him on the diamond. Y'all play right. Y'all play second. Y'all play third. Y'all play short. Y'all play left. He's amenable to everything. That right there should give you a sense of like, yo, this dude is team player. He don't care about nothing else. All this dude wants to do is win baseball games. To the 15 people in here, what's up? Hit that like, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel. Let people know what's up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're right. I love Mookie. I can't believe. Listen, there's a bunch of Red Sox fans that agree with you, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sox.
Yo, so Jonathan, you're thinking people such as TD and Sox fan for life.
Word.
Because they're Red Sox fans. So y'all should shake hands in the chat.
See, no, that's not true, because if you remember when the lockout happened before I think it was 2021, right? Right after we came back from COVID, there was a lockout. There was a 72-hour window where owners spent $2 billion. So owners are willing to dole out money if they know that they need to get their rosters pretty much figured out. So when they come back from a lockout, because there's still going to be a freeze. You remember that, Ivan?
Well, I'm a little confused, because just a few minutes ago, Norm was just saying otherwise. He was saying that the reason why guys are signing the deals that they've been signing is because of what's about to happen.
Right.
And now you're saying the opposite. So where do you stand, Norm? Because now I'm seeing both.
So, but here's the thing. We can't say that they're not going to spend big, because we've seen them spend obscene amounts of money before the last lockout happened. There was a 72-hour window where these guys spent close to, I think it was $2 billion, I think was spent in total in 3 days.
Sox fan for life says, Norm, you flopping it. I that's funny. I just want to know where he truly stands, right? Because both are actually valid points, but because both are coming from him, I just want to know, what do you truly stand by?
Right now, you have few financial.
Yeah, this is actually something that Stefan has talked about before.
We talked about it. Like for example, you got Dick Manafort in Colorado. You know, Dick Manafort's entire net worth is like $800 million. That's his entire net worth.
Wow.
Juan Soto is making this guy's entire net worth in one contract.
Absolutely ridiculous, man.
That is insanity, bro.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about?
I'm not $30 million per year.
Wow. You know what they're gonna have to do? You know that their luxury tax bill next year is gonna be like almost $480, because they're paying triple the luxury tax.
That's insane, by the way.
That's crazy, bro. That shit is nuts.
Wow, really? So you guys are thinking that this upcoming season could be the last season prior to a lockout.
It's gonna take them a while, bro, because look at what they're fighting about. You're fighting on the international front. You're fighting about free agency as a whole. You're fighting about a potential salary cap. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with when you're not just talking about fighting for one particular problem. You're talking about a multitude of issues that these teams are dealing with, and they're gonna have to deal with the idea that you might not get this done quickly. Because remember, the last lockout lasted 114 days. If you remember, they actually pushed the beginning of the season back because they didn't think they were going to get the deal done on time. You remember that during the last lockout where they're like, yo, we're going to have to miss the first couple of weeks of the season, but they ended up making it up, so it all worked out in the end. But I think there's a significant chance where we missed the first month and a half to 2 months of the regular season, bro.
By the way, when that time does come, Stefan, let's let everybody who's watching know right now we're still gonna be here. We can all kumbaya, do yoga sessions, breathe in, breathe out, all together up until we finally get to opening day of 2026, whenever that'll be.
Because we're gonna be here for it. TV deals, yeah. No, it's gonna cover it. They're fine, and the Guggenheim family got
that Ohtani money is different, bro. That Ohtani revenue, man.
The whole Japanese market revenue is different.
Yeah, this is a great point by TD. TD, we know you just got here, but the whole salary cap thing is something that we referenced. But players are not gonna want that.
Nah, and that's where the real fight is gonna be. Norm once again reminding us of the date, December 1st, 2026. By the way,
yo, bring it on. Shit, I would love to watch some baseball Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. How about some baseball Christmas Day for the first time?
Listen,
I'll sign up for that.
I'm gonna be honest with you right now. You know how much I'm dying for baseball, bro?
Yeah, man.
The Caribbean series starts next week. I can't wait. The Caribbean series, bro.
By the way, I've been seeing a lot of videos and shout out to my boys Manny, Aristides, and Andy. They've been sending me a lot of content with the league and the Winter League in DR. Have you seen how some of these pitchers react, man, when they get some of those big strikeouts? Dude,
I love it.
They're skipping and hopping and twirling and flipping. They're doing all types of things, man.
So I'm gonna address this.
Watch, though.
I'm gonna address this Nolan Arenado comment. Would you rather have Nolan, who's a platinum glove third baseman, who we agree, Alfred, we agree with you, or would you rather have the idea that Murakami is going to be 26 years old, going to be a lot less cheap, less expensive, and also is younger?
3 bounce back years is asking for a lot, though. Arenado is what, about to be 34, if I'm not mistaken?
I believe so, yes.
You're telling me he's going to bounce back for age 35, 36, and 37? Or 34, 5, and 6, excuse me. I could see it maybe for 2025, but beyond that is who knows?
That's a gamble, but I like the confidence though. And Nolan is an LA native, so I can see where he might want to. Here we go, TD killing Nolan again. Yeah. Killing Nolan again.
Well, I get it. He hasn't been the same guy since he left Colorado. But let's not act like he didn't have a hell of a season just a couple years ago, where I think like him and Goldschmidt, if I'm not mistaken, finished like top 3. Didn't like Goldie win? Yeah, Arenado finished like somewhere up there as well. He may not be able to do that again, and the same applies to Goldie.
Yep.
But listen, even if Nolan Arenado is not able to get back to who he once was, which is probably not going to happen, still a hell of a career.
Could be. You're right. I ain't mad at it. They're doing a good job of that now.
Yeah, they're showing us that right now. They've been doing that for a couple of years. Damn. might as well throw in a guy who was on the ballot this year for 2025 in that as well, Troy Tulowitzki.
And you might as well say the same shit about Ty Helton, although Ty Helton was that dude for many years.
He had a hell of a career, man.
He was that dude for many years, bro.
Too bad. You mean too bad?
I mean, for you. Oh, shit, we got the band back together. We got to get the band back together, baby.
Hey.
You know what I mean? Yeah, bro. I came in yelling about that first 10 minutes of the show. I'm heated. I'm still mad.
That's what we started tonight's show with, Shrek.
You know what I mean?
Welcome. By the way, friendly reminder for everyone, follow us on Instagram at 27outs3C for those of you who rock with Instagram. And everyone who is watching right now via YouTube,
by the way,
hit that subscribe button, please, and
guys,
thank you.
We at 168 right now. By the end of this live, if we could get to 170, you guys are rock stars. Help us get to 170, guys. By the time this live ends, we have 168 right now. We 2 subs away. Can y'all do it?
What we got here?
Let's see.
Norm tells us how he feels about Murakami. Not as high on him.
His average slid since his breakout 2022. His timeout have been spiked. He's also
right. I did read some. I read something like that a couple of days ago.
Maybe try moving Will Smith to third. The catcher, Will Smith?
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Finally, yeah, word.
Yes. We actually, Shrek, we know that you just got here, but earlier tonight we did say that it should not have taken 10 years for him to get in. Should have gotten in sooner, actually.
Yeah, nah. So
Sox Fan for Life says Holmes made Yankee fans sweat when he came in. Oh, that's why you said too bad he's not on the team. Hey, listen, you're right. He did.
I got PTSD watching that dude.
Yeah.
I think about he sees Murakami more as a Yankee.
Wow.
Okay. Really? Okay.
Right. I'm assuming him being a lefty is probably what makes you say that, right, Alfred?
The actor Will Smith. Oh shit.
He says true fellas think on Bregman now. Short contract, 3 years, 90.
I think that's probably where he sits.
Yeah, that's what he's gonna have to settle for. I think guys
sits,
like Alex Bregman and Pete Alonso are gonna have to do exactly that.
You know, because I think the common theme is Scott Boras could get the big fish paid, but he can't. He showed you he struggled the last few years with the middle tier free agents.
Oh, by the way, there was one last topic. We still have a little more than 30 minutes here for tonight's show.
Yep.
Blue Jays, Anthony Santander.
Finally,
the Blue Jays came to an agreement. That is something that we wanted to also get into tonight. How do you guys feel about that? You know, we've talked a lot about the Blue Jays missing out on damn near every single free agent that they had a conversation with. But over the past, week or two, being able to land guys like Anthony Santander and Jeff Hoffman, those are some solid deals. I like that.
Definitely, for sure. And here's the other thing I'll say too is the Blue Jays are also interested in Alonso. They've talked about the idea of putting Alonso, putting Vladdy back at third for you because Vladdy does want to go back to third.
So let me ask you this. Do you think they do that? And if you're the Blue Jays, are you willing to offer Alonso more than what he may be getting from the Mets to be able to make that come true?
I think if you're the Blue Jays, you're in a situation now where you're just trying to piece it all together because if Vladdy leaves, you still want to be able to have a team that is at least watchable when Vladdy and Bo Bichette break out. So if we could do Alonso, we could do Santander, we could do a couple other things. Because also the other thing with the Blue Jays is their stadium was just renovated. So they're trying to spend money just based on, we have to pay off the stadium renovation. They spent $300 million getting that stadium renovated. The money has to go somewhere. So I don't like the Santander signing. I think he's a below average outfielder. I think his on base percentage is terrible. I think the 44 home runs was a byproduct of him hitting at Camden Yards. I don't think he's going to do that again.
TG actually agrees with you. Santander sucks. Sorry, fellas. He's a DH who hits 220 with 40 home runs.
But that's the modern game, though. Whether we like it or not, that's the modern game. That's where we are as baseball, as an industry right now. That's the modern game.
Right.
We were just having a conversation the other night about Luis Ariz and how Luis Ariz keeps getting traded because nobody values batting average. This is where we are right now as an industry. Big follow, and I can see it.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, that's something that I've been a proponent of for years. You got to be able to trade some of these draft picks. Speaking of trades of draft picks, Utah did something interesting tonight that we're going to get into off the air in the NBA, Ivan. Let's just say I think Jimmy Butler ends up in Phoenix.
Okay.
Just a thought. Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't. It's a tough sell. I mean, at that point, shit, you might as well.
If he's not back by now, I don't see him coming back, man. You know, even though I certainly do believe that he deserves a shot to be able to play Major League Baseball again, but nah.
He says, "I gotta go, but I'll leave you with this: who gets in the Hall of Fame first, Bonds or Rose?" I'm gonna go Rose just because he just passed away.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's see, at that point, now we all know that he should have been in years ago. But doesn't it kind of seem a little disrespectful that you do it now?
You know why you're gonna do it now? Because you don't got egg on your face. If you do it now, you look like you actually gave it some consideration. But you know how you know when you should have put him in the Hall of Fame? The moment you sign deals with DraftKings and Bet sports books and all these different gambling sites is when you should have lifted the ban on Pete Rose and put him in the Hall of Fame, because you started making money off of the gambling sites who you were now happy to be in bed with. Now that Pete Rose, now we're going to act like Pete Rose, you're holier than thou to not put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. Rob Manfred, you're lucky we ain't got enough time to do this, because Rob Manfred, I got some shit to say about Rob Manfred. I'll leave it alone, but I'll just tell you this. If Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame, then the Hall of Fame should not be considered the Hall of Fame. Period. Point blank, period, the end. Pete Rose needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And it needs to happen soon rather than
anything
later.
that you currently have in the baseball museum, because I know they have stuff of his in there. Absolutely. Just take it out. Because what's the point of having that stuff there to memorize the guy as one of the all-time greats, and you don't want to put him in the Hall of Fame?
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. So we're gonna sit there and call this the Hall of Fame and all of baseball and blah blah blah. Like, that's disgusting.
Right.
By the way, guys, I'm gonna remind you guys again: if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. You know what I mean? Help us get to the magic goal of 170. That's our goal for tonight. If we can get to 170, that's a nice round number. You know what I'm saying? But let's get back to these comments. Pete Rose, even if it takes a new commissioner, Rick says. Listen, they need to put him in right now. It needs to happen right now. We need to stop all this foolishness. Put these dudes in the Hall of Fame right now. That we disagree with, bro. Well, at least I do.
We actually spoke about that last year, King Cash.
At least I do. I think he gambled. And I think the boogie took the fall because of how important he is to the game. I agree with you. You know what? You deserve one of these because you spent facts. Yeah, I agree with you. Yep. I agree with you. So that right there, that needs to be pointed out. Nobody. I think the other one that's left is Estevez.
Trying to pull it up right now.
David Robinson's also left. Estevez.
Yeah, Kenley Jansen. I mean, we're talking about guys who are good, right? Not many, man. All of them are gone for the most part.
Yeah, I don't see it. So let me ask you a question, Shrek, and I'm not trying to like shit on your opinion because that's actually a very valid point. Are we making this the Hall of Fame, or are we calling this the Hall of the the morally?
Nah, King. When we see a lot of new names, bro, that's where it really comes from. Because certain people like they have been here for quite some time, right? But then we got people like you who we've never seen your name before, and that's not a bad thing. But we
That's
want to
dope.
let you know as much as we could. If you're rocking with us, stick around, and that's the way to go about it.
Yeah, because what it's gonna do is the algorithm's gonna notice who's in here, and when we do bring up more content, like because trust me, there's gonna be more Dodger talk this season. If you're a Dodger fan, you're gonna want to be in here for this.
Yes, I
We agree
agree.
because Shrek and I agree. This is what I'm going to address. The other allegations we can't. We weren't around for that.
Wait, so what are the other allegations? Because someone
Well,
like me, I don't know.
the other allegations is that he was supposedly caught sleeping with underage chicks,
Oh,
but none of that has been substantiated. So I
see, if
can't.
that was a big no, then I can only imagine now where that is. I don't even know what term to use when it comes to that.
That's an interesting point. No Jansen, please. No, we agree with you.
Yeah, no,
Mm-hmm.
not anymore. It's a good point, TD.
Especially when you made money off of this, you heard? You made
Right.
money with these gambling companies. Now you want to act all holier than thou. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It can't go both ways.
And also too, let's not act like there aren't guys
Look at
who
Wander
were
Franco.
pretty
Yeah,
bad people off the field that are already in the Hall of Fame.
right. Right. So that's
Yeah, no, that whole Wanda Franco thing, man, that story is insane, dude. Honestly. Dude just literally threw his entire life away for an
shit.
underage girl.
Word.
Like we're talking about a guy who literally has women just willing to take their clothes off for him
That's
who
crazy.
are of age. And you go on and do something like that, brother.
And not for nothing with the Yamins and the DR, you couldn't find somebody at age.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Know what I mean? But this comment right here, yo, appreciate the love, man. Appreciate the love, man. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Alfred. Hey, by the way, same here. We also are fans of a team as well, but most importantly, first and foremost, baseball fans.
Put the dude on some. I think a lot of it is tough, man, because I think with this commissioner, you ain't gonna get nowhere with Rob Manfred as the commissioner. I think once Rob Manfred leaves office and you put a younger commissioner in there who's a little bit more progressive, I think you're gonna see a lot of shit in the game kind of get even. Sometimes it could be worse, but I think it's gonna get better. But I need somebody that's, who the next commissioner should be, in my opinion. I'd like to see a guy like Curtis Granderson or Adam Jones be the commissioner of baseball. Those are the two guys right there.
Adam Jones.
Wait,
okay.
we got a new one in here. Wait.
Dodger fan, enjoying the channel, subscribe.
Yeah, man.
Super Banana with the Superman logo. Shout out to you, bro. Welcome.
By the way, Super Banana, that is a dope. Superman is my guy. So shout out to you for that. I dislike this dumb.
A lot of people do, TD. Yeah.
Listen, don't get me started, bro. Because
Sox fan for life. David Robinson wants to stay on East Coast. Who knows? It's possible.
Well, he's from Alabama, So I think that there's a way where that's a possible. It's
Right.
possible. Um,
Shrek says Carlos Beltran and Adam Jones. Oh, no, Andrew Jones, excuse me, getting in with the week 2026 Hall of Fame class.
we agree with you because the ballot does open up.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
do think that both guys will eventually get in at some point.
Yeah,
Beltran more than Andrew Jones, but that's not to take away from Andrew Jones getting in, period.
for sure. And here's the other thing. I really just hope that there's some like because I like some of the changes that Manfred made. Don't get me wrong. I think the pitch clock was dope. I think the fact that you made games shorter is a good thing. But my issue with him is, yo, dog, that'll be 2 lockouts on your tenure, 2 work stoppages, right? You're trying to expand the game globally, right? But what about domestically? You got the Rays playing in a minor league stadium. You don't know what's going on with them. Their owner, Stu Sternberg, might have to sell the team because he might not be rich enough to be able to find investors to build them a new ballpark because the Tampa Bay community said, fuck that. We ain't paying for a new yard, right? What's gonna happen with the Marlins? Are the Marlins sustainable in Florida? I don't think I don't know if Florida baseball works. That's the other thing.
Right.
So that's one thing you got going for you. What's gonna happen with this A situation? Do we for sure know that we're gonna get a ballpark in Vegas? We don't know that. So as much as we like to sit here and talk about, yo, this is gonna happen, do we know that for sure? I don't know.
That's an interesting take there by TD. Roger Clemens is actually somebody who we talked about earlier tonight. You see that comment there? Let's get it up here. There's only one guy who, as a Red Sox fan, can't. I'm assuming you're saying he can't be in the Hall of Fame, but only the Hall of Shame, and that is Roger Clemens.
See, but that's where me and you we disagree because what did Roger Clemens do? He took steroids. So what? He didn't hurt nobody. He didn't kill nobody. He didn't sue nobody.
He ain't talked to anyone that was underage or.
Know what I mean? He wasn't out here with underage shorties.
Right.
He was just out here sticking needles up his ass. But that ain't. Listen, when we stop and realize that baseball benefited from the steroid use is when we need to come to some sort of agreement and realize, yo, steroids doesn't make you throw the ball harder, hit the ball further. It may help you recuperate faster and stay on the field, but your God-given abilities were there before the steroids.
Right.
So, I mean, I hear that, but like this guy, Roger Clemens, was that guy for about a 10, 15-year run when he was the best pitcher in the game.
You see, but here's my thing, though, Stefan, and I think this is a valid question, right? I want to know what everybody else who's watching right now is thinking about this as well. What do you say to the guys who use it when they're very young, right? Because you make a good point by saying that, oh, it doesn't make you do this better, it doesn't make you do that better. Then why are certain guys doing it, as teenagers or perhaps maybe even in their early 20s? I'd like to know.
That's a good point. Also, too, you know why I think they do it? Because they want that next contract. And a lot of them are coming from impoverished places like the Dominican Republic, like Puerto Rico. You're coming from impoverished areas, so you figure the steroids might be the thing that helps me stay in the game longer, helps me get better stats, helps me to put myself in a position to be able to feed my family for long periods of time.
Right.
One of the reasons why Clemens is out of Hall. I remember when he threw the broken bat. I mean, yeah,
I do remember that.
I do remember that. But here's the other thing I'll say. I'll say this to be truthful. People do crazy shit on the. So are we gonna say that Pedro Martinez shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame because he threw down Don Zimmer? Nice.
By the way, I don't want to say too much about this. TD, when you say Manny, I'm assuming you're talking about Manny Ramirez.
Yeah.
So,
but Manny was dumb because he did it multiple times, and he knew he was gonna get caught.
I just want to say something. I don't want to start no drama. I want to start no BS. But I actually, when I was in high school, I played in because I played high school baseball. For those who don't know, I played in the same division as Manny Ramirez's high school. Manny Ramirez, for those who don't know, he went to George Washington, which is uptown New York.
Oh, you talking about senior because junior's also playing now.
Yeah, I'm talking about Manny Ramirez. The son, I ain't worried about him yet. No, too soon to worry about him. Yeah, TD's also talking about Manny Ramirez.
Okay.
So I've met, and I know someone who actually went to the same school, which is, as I mentioned, George Washington. Now, he didn't play with Manny Ramirez. However, he told me something that was very interesting. And it was something that a lot of people who would go up against that team would always think about, because for some odd reason, their teenagers looked like grown-ass men. I don't know what type of routines they were going through. I don't know what kind of workouts. I don't know what type of supplements they were on. But let's just say,
I know what type of supplements they were on. It's called the steroid.
Yeah, I was told a thing or two about players who have gone to that school to play baseball and then being on some stuff. Yes,
I could believe it.
And this is somebody who went to the school, somebody who played for the baseball team.
Are we both from New York? Yes.
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
He's up there, bro.
He's up there, but you could put Clemens in the same boat.
Yeah, and it's not even up for debate when it comes to Pedro. Like he's
the one person that I think is never going to get in because of some of the shit he says is Kurt Schilling. That's one guy you can say for sure. Like, you out in people's cancer diagnoses and you out here being the worst of the worst kind of scum.
Yo, you know who else is bad too? And he's not even Hall of Fame bound. Even if we all voted for him to get in, he still wouldn't get in. You remember Aubrey Huff? Wasn't it Aubrey Huff?
Yeah, he's wilding.
You ever? I don't know if he's still the same.
Some of his,
I saw some of this stuff.
Some of his tweets are outrageous.
Yo, his mouth is reckless, bro.
Nah.
Yeah, man. Yo, Sox fan for life.
Man.
That's something that we definitely would like to make happen in the future at some point, and all of you guys are gonna know for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna because one thing we want to do, guys, is we want to build relationships with you guys just away from the channel. So listen, if you're ever in the YouTube, like if you're ever on YouTube, just leave a comment on one of our posts. We will get back to y'all, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we will get back to y'all. I can make the argument Clemens was better than Pedro. You can.
It's an interesting debate.
Whether you choose not to is up to you, but I can make the argument he's a better pitcher than Pedro Martinez.
Right. By the way, now that Sox fan for life did say something like this, Stefan and I, we go to a few baseball games throughout the year, right? Mm-hmm. So, now that we have a lot of you guys rocking with us, something that we might actually start doing this year, I would say actually, is, we might actually start telling you guys where we're going to be seated at games. Mm-hmm. So if for whatever reason you also want to buy a ticket to that game and want to say what's up,
down,
come by, come to the section, chop it up. We could enjoy the game together. It'll feel as if we're doing the show live, but without the camera rolling.
For sure. Goat, I gotta kill you on this comment, bro. I know you just got hit. That's a bad comment. That is a horrible comment.
The off season is a failure, really.
And I usually don't kill comments, but that's horrible.
Now I get where you're coming from, but I don't agree with that statement.
Like, so you're gonna tell me getting Max Fried was a bad move? You're gonna tell me getting Cody Bellinger was a bad move? Telling me getting the second best closer in the game was a bad move? Bad take. That's the most irrational take I've heard. That's craziness.
So he's saying that he'd rather take Pedro if he had to win a game.
Yo, dog. If you're gonna give me both of them in their primes, Roger Clemens is giving me 8 innings of shutout ball, striking out 15 dudes, and I'm walking out of there alive and probably richer than when I left.
Yeah. Well, also too, we have to remember TD is a guy who doesn't actually like Roger Clemens. So he comes from a somewhat
you're
of
coming from a biased place. Yeah, which I'm cool with, but at least admit that fact though.
I don't know about clearing them.
I don't know,
but
man.
I think they're all in the conversation.
Yeah, they're like you could make a comment. They're 1, 2, or 3. You know who's the next guy that I would take? Give me a young Mike Mussina.
Young Mike Mussina?
Before he went to the Yankees. I'm talking about when Mike Mussina was with the Orioles.
Right. I think I'm good without that, but I respect it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. He should not be starting.
And they know that. They're not starting him. There's no way they're starting him. There's a better chance of Oswaldo Cabrera starting. They're moving Jazz over to second. There's no way that DJ LeMahieu even sees the field. Not on a consistent basis. He might get some reps here and there, but nah. A Greinke? Too many postseason blowups for me.
Wait, Greinke clears who?
Nah, Greinke.
Who? Sorry, Shrek, but who is Zach Greinke clearing?
Yeah, word.
Nah, now, hold on. Now we just get it. Like, listen, Shrek, you could throw names out there. I'm not mad at you. Leave your comments, bro. But come on now, bro. Zach Greinke. I'll give you Randy Johnson, but Zach Greinke, man, stop that.
Me too.
Yes.
Me too.
A lot of people would like to see Vlad go to the Mets.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but also remember when Roger Clemens shut down that 114 win Mariner team in Seattle in the game the Yankees had to have on the road where he struck out 15 Mariners in the playoffs? We can do this. We can do this. I'll be here all day playing volleyball with you. We can do this. What's good?
This is I like this comment here. Just remember, one guy was clean while people were on steroids. Very good.
Fair.
It's a good take.
Fair. I see 3 versus 3 Dodgers and see who take. What do you mean?
Yeah,
I'm confused. Clarify that comment for me, bro.
Right.
They were all no. They were all juiced up. So you can't say that Roger was the only one juiced up because look at the offenses he was pitching to. They were all juiced up back then.
Well, TD, let me ask you this.
How do we know Pedro wasn't juicing? He may not admitted it, but we don't know if he was or wasn't.
He sure had teammates who did it.
You know what I mean?
TD, I don't know if you were here for this. I know you came later in tonight's show. How do you feel about steroid users in the Hall of Fame period? Like, are you anti-steroid users being voted into the Hall of Fame? Or are you like Stefan where, maybe certain guys should get in and others shouldn't?
We don't know that to be true. So I can't say for sure whether he was or wasn't because we don't know that to be true. That's a nice 3 versus 3.
I don't think he was. I'll stick by. I get your point, Stefan. You're right. There's a lot of guys who we don't know about, right?
We don't know. And listen, what I'm saying, and if he wasn't, more power to him because Pedro was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
He was incredible.
Oh,
I got you,
Alfred. You got to say that, bro. You left out some key,
very important details there, my boy.
Okay, so you said you want to see Freeman, Mookie, and Ohtani versus Lindor, Soto, and Vladdy Jr. Wow,
holy shit!
Sign me up for that right now. I'll subscribe. Shout out to Ray.
Word.
Welcome.
Day one in my home. It depends. For example, Barry's clean before he. Yeah.
Okay, so you're okay with some, man. Okay, that's why I asked.
Nah. So listen, I guess like I said at the top of the show, this is all subjective. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a subjective point of view. Is not perfect. You know what I'm saying? None of this is
This
perfect.
is wild. Roger Clemens, who gained 5 miles per
That's
hour
wild.
because of the juice.
That's crazy.
Yo, TD really got some.
Yeah, you got some hate
Hate
towards
for Roger
Roger,
Clemens, bro.
bro. You got some hate for Roger. I mean, I'm with it because I'm
All
all
right,
for I'm
we
all
got
for
a
holding the grudge.
few more minutes left. One last reminder for those of you who are watching right now, make sure you follow us on Instagram at 27outs3C. And
Please
if
explain
you're new
this
here, that's Stefan. I'm Ivan. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and welcome to the channel.
for sure. All right, in the last 5 minutes, let's ask you guys a question.
I like this by Ray, actually. You saw, yeah, John Lester. Yeah, I like John Lester when he was in the game. You see Ray's comment there?
What
He
said?
says it doesn't matter to him anymore because everybody was doing it back in the day. You're right. So many people were doing it where you just might have to say, yo, it's time.
It is what it is.
Whoever deserves it, deserves it.
Put them dudes in the Hall of Fame, man. Straight up.
Outside of Barry. Interesting. That's wow. I like that actually.
Outside of Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa. Put them in the Hall of Fame, bro. What are we doing?
Okay.
Favorite ballpark? I can't answer that because I've only been to like 2 ballparks. I haven't been. I passed by Camden Yards, so that's a tough one.
Same here, bro. I've only been to Yankee Stadium.
Nah, he sued the union, bro.
Nah, you see, as much as I would have loved to see Alex Rodriguez get into the Hall of Fame, we talked about this earlier tonight, Manny, and one thing that I said was the fact that I think A-Rod, he did a little too much.
Yeah,
right?
He wilded out.
Like, I know wrong is wrong in terms of using performance-enhancing drugs, but how you go about it, if you are a guy who did, in fact, use, A-Rod being one of them,
yeah,
he just went about it in a terrible way, bro.
And
like,
he was arrogant about it. I didn't use. What you talking about? What you talking
yeah,
about?
he lied to Peter Gammons on ESPN. He lied to Mike Francesa back in the days when he was still on radio. He lied to a lot of people, bro. Like, not only to the fans, but people who genuinely love the game, bro. Like, he literally sat right across from these people and said no.
He sued the Players Union and the Yankees, the team he was playing for at that time. Hell no. Hell no. Canseco. That's funny. That's funny. A-Fraud.
Yeah, TD likes to be funny with A-Rod. I remember this moment. That was a
that's funny.
Moment.
Yeah, bloopers. Yeah. Nah, not like that. They didn't.
I get what he's saying. He's saying no matter how you went about it, lying is lying at the end of the day.
But then nobody sued the league. Nobody sued his own union. He sued his own union, my boy. Like, nah, you sue your own union,
right? Like you were against people who work for you at the end of the day.
You crazy? Shit.
Really? Why are you glad? You guys probably would have won more championships.
Nah, but the way his career ended, I can see why he says that.
Yeah,
I can see why you say that.
Could you have a man? Oh my god, that would be insane, bro.
Here's what I'm gonna tell you. Can you imagine a 3-4-5 with Poppy, Manny, and A-Rod?
Oh, it's over. That would have been the greatest 3-4-5 in the history of Major League Baseball. Bro.
Oh my goodness! Oh.
By far.
Woo! Yo, that's not fair, bro. It's not fair, bro.
What's the update with the Veterans Committee?
So the Veterans Committee is, Bustle, they failed too. Because why is Keith Hernandez not in the Hall of Fame? Somebody please explain.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that for sure.
Who the dudes? Eh.
The dudes who were actually in court saying that they did
Well,
not do.
Sosa was in court. McGuire was in court.
Rafael Palmeiro.
Palmeiro, yep. But you know what? These new generations of fighters, they don't give a fuck about none of this shit.
True.
Because
they're a lot more
this new
open-minded.
generations of writers, they're voting for A-Rod and Bonds and all these dudes. They're voting for all these younger dudes.
Right.
For all the dudes that played in our era.
I feel like this generation would be okay if an athlete caught a body and they would still want them in a Hall of Fame.
Listen,
like,
man.
yo, but the fact that he caught a body got nothing to do with his playing days. Like, we just gotta chill. Get Cano in the Hall of Fame. Hey, Cano was Hall of Fame bound until
before he went to Seattle and he dumbed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rafi, yeah, he was out here being disrespectful with his, like.
I remember that.
Yeah. All right, we're at the 2-hour mark. So
with A-Prod as the leader. That's funny, bro.
That's funny. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for all the comments. This was fun. I had a good time. Ivan, any last thoughts before we close this thing out, man?
Nah, man. I actually agree with everything that you had already said. Only thing I would say is shout out to everyone yet again. Another live, another night of plenty of love. Shout out to LA. Shout out to the Dodgers. You guys were here tonight, repping loudly and proudly, as you guys should. But yeah, we'll be back in a few days with yet another live. But that's about it. Thank you for rocking with us yet again.
For sure. So Trek ends is with Bobby Whitwell. I can see it.
It's possible.
I can see it.
Yeah,
I can see it. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace.